Hi, everyone. It's Jackie Van Workum, and we are here at Hope After the Landslide. And this is Facebook Live, and I could be more live than I am right now. I am over here at the mall shopping at the last minute because a dress that I had planned to wear for my son's wedding, which is this weekend, well, it doesn't fit. So I had to last minute come up here, and between me and my beautiful guest, Didi, we have been trying to make this technology work, and thank you, Didi, for going through hoops of fire in order to get us started here this evening. Before we start to talk to Didi and share her story, I just wanted to say, of course, we know that this weekend is going to be Easter, a special, very special time, and it is a sign of just new life. And we know now that we do have to have a new life. We have to start pretty much all over again in life without our child. And it's just a great reminder of Christ being up on that cross and how he demonstrated life after he died for our sins. And also to encourage each and every one of you, no matter what stages of grief that you're in, if it just happened, if it's been a while, and if you've been, by yourself and trying to do this all on your own, it is so much easier. Well, I don't say easier, but it goes so much smoother when you're doing it with other moms. And so before, Didi, again, you start to share your story, I do want to say that Didi was one of the courageous moms that started with our focus group that we did. Gosh, Didi, has it been over a year, right?
Over a year.
Yeah, over a year. And she assembled together with some of the other moms and went through the resurfacing book that I wrote. And she's just a delight. I just adore her. So Didi, welcome to Hope After the Landslide. And like to hear a little bit about your story and any other thoughts that you have on your heart tonight.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. I'm happy to be here and to be able to share my story, just where I'm at in my process. So I'll share first about my son Tommy. Tommy joined the Army when he was 19. He became an Army Ranger, which is like a special forces for the Army. He had done 5 deployments, 1 in Iraq and 4 in Afghanistan. And on his 5th deployment, about a week before he was to come home, he was killed in action and on a night mission. And, it's funny because I've always known, oh, I'm sorry for my dog.
It's live, Didi, it's live.
Okay. I always knew, when Tommy joined the Army, of course, I was worried about him, fearful, and, I didn't want my kid to go into the military. But it's what he wanted to do. And so, we went along with first deployment, second deployment, third deployment. And after a while, you just start to be like, they're the best trained, the best equipped. He's fine. And I didn't worry about it as much as I did those first couple of. And you just don't think it's going to be your kid because there's thousands of people out there and nobody ever, you never think it's going to be your kid.
Yeah.
I think we probably all feel that way.
Yes.
And in the military, when there's injury or casualty, they call it knocks and rings. And that night there were 2 rings and a knock. We were the knock because our son was the casualty, and the other 2 were one very severe injury with my.
No, that's what they did.
Yeah, knocks and rings is what
Huh.
they call it. So when you get out on Facebook and different things, and in the military world, you'll see things like that, and that's what that means. So, but it's kind of like the movies. You answer your door, there's a chaplain there, a casualty officer, and they are very formal. They come in and they just, inform you that, your loved one has been killed, and they're there to walk alongside you as you deal with the Army and because there's a lot that goes on with a military death also. It's public. So we had media and newspapers and yeah, just things that, you don't even think about. And, we're watching the news and there's your kid's face on the 7 o'clock news, Channel 7. So it just things we just didn't know. And so they come alongside and try to prepare you and kind of get you ready for that kind of thing. So I got to tell you, that day, as all of you moms know, is the worst day of your life. And, it's interesting because I didn't cry. I kind of went into shock mode, and I did I take care of everybody. So uh, I was the one that drove to all the family. And, my husband and I told them together. But it was a heartbreaking day because I watched my husband. He just was never the same after that day, and that really broke my heart. I mean, we all changed, but it's
Yeah.
just been it's really sad to watch what a death of a child to a family. It's devastating. And, I hope as moms that are listening to this, I really hope that, we remember that we want to take care of our marriages and really, seek out counseling and prayer and close friends that can come together and just help you stay bound together because, it's just a tragedy to see another death, a death of a man after the death of a child. It's a kind of a double whammy, you know.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding. And that is really very key, Didi. Thank you for sharing that about, because everybody needs to realize, especially because men definitely are going to grieve different, and we we're going to have. I mean, we definitely, my husband and I have had our differences and how we've grieved, and it's like you always expect the other person to be there to hold you up, but you can't.
Yeah,
You can't depend on other people, and that's why I just always I'm saying that I've been fortunate to have, well, fortunate for me, but unfortunate, of course, having friends that have lost, other children or family members that have died through suicide. And no one's going to understand that more than someone that's gone through that. And same thing with a grieving mom. Oh, Didi, I know, and you see this in the movies all the time when you get, the knock on the door. And, you do. You also are in that, as I mentioned last week, like this out of body experience. Like it's when you see them, you instantly know, but you never think it's gonna, like you said, happen to you.
yeah. And it just takes time for it to process. I mean, you just I kind of walk around in that fog, that frozen state that we talk about in the book.
Yeah.
You do what you have to do, but it's just a blur. So one of my counselors told me, we're back to the husband and wife. You're like two skiers up on a mountain and you each have broken legs, and you can't help each other down. You just can't. And that's how it is when you're two grieving parents. You you really can't help the other person. Each person has got, you can love each other, but each person has really got to seek out and get counseling and help on their own because we all grieve differently. And so I would just encourage people, if you have a spouse when you're going through this, to just, encourage. I'm a big proponent of counseling now, and I never was before. Now I
Yeah.
feel like everybody should be in counseling no matter what you've been through.
I
So,
love that. And I love that. Of course, I love mountains, and that's what so much of the book is about. And I love that explanation. That really does, it explains it completely.
yeah,
Completely.
yeah.
I want to say hi to Mary and Sherry that are out there. Hi, you guys. Thank you for joining us. And as I always, in the midst of our Facebook Lives here, Hope After Landslide, if you want to do a shout out to where you're watching us from, and if anybody has lost anyone through the military, or if you just want to share any of your thoughts on here, we'd love to read your comments on there. So Didi, talk about, we talk a little bit about the holidays that are coming up, and I had asked you earlier, it's like, if you've already been 5 years almost, right,
Yeah,
out.
2.5 years.
And yeah, and you've gone through all the holidays a number of times.
Right.
Do you remember those first couple of holidays and how you felt, and how maybe you could share some ideas how you got through that?
Well, he died in October, so right away, we're not that Halloween's a big
Right, right.
holiday we should be pushing, but our family, he died October 12th, and on Halloween we all dressed up and went out down to a place called Naples, and then had dinner together in honor of Tommy, just to be together as family. And I mean, we were raw. It was raw, but we laughed and we cried, and it was just better than sitting at home. And that was just a couple of weeks after. Then we had Thanksgiving, and
Boom, boom, boom.
boom, boom,
Wow.
boom, and then Christmas. And so it was. It really didn't do a lot. I didn't go crazy buying gifts or wrapping or anything like that. I think we just, sorry, family just wanted to be close, and I'm very thankful that I have a very close family. We live close by. We're close. We get along and that kind of thing. So it was a hard time, but it was a time we really needed each other. My kids needed the rest of the family, and my husband needed. We all needed everybody to just be there.
Did you guys talk about like changing? Do you talk together openly about like what does everybody want to do individually, as far as like let's not do the same stuff anymore? Or
Yeah, we did. We've never had, I mean, we basically had, Christmas morning, you have breakfast, you open gifts. At night, we'd get the other half of the family together for dinner. So we kind of did the same thing, but it just was quieter. Uh,
yeah.
I didn't cook a big breakfast, didn't worry about decorating the table all fancy. It was just, I made a point that we were together.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really important for families. We need each other,
Yeah.
and you don't want to be alone. You don't want to isolate, and that's the one thing you really want to do. You just want to isolate and sit in your room and maybe drink wine or whatever, numb yourself. I just encourage people to be as connected as you possibly can, and even to tell your friends or your close family to make you be connected. So
Mm-hmm.
you might not want to, but if they could be bold enough to just say, "You're coming with us," or "We're
Yes.
coming over,"
You're
uh,
holding you accountable,
hold
right?
them accountable in a loving way. Yeah, yeah,
Wow. I love that advice. And I'm, that is a lot. I mean, something to be said about like having, you said like Halloween's not a big deal, but Thanksgiving and Christmas and then New Year's, like you had it all at one time.
yeah,
It's almost like you couldn't even catch your breath.
yeah. You were
And then
really,
it's like, okay, it's out of the way.
yeah.
Out of
That's
the way.
what it was. Let's just get through, be together as much as we can, and then the second year around, it was tough too because then the reality has set in. That first year, the first half of the year, you're kind of in a fog. And
Mhm.
for me, anyways, about 6 months, 8 months, definitely that year mark, the reality of my son not coming back um, here in this life, I'm never going to see him again here in this life, hit really hard. It's
Yeah.
still 5 years in. It's just that reminder of the reality is real. And, you
And,
learn to carry that pain better, but it's always there.
yeah. And he had a little boy, correct?
Yes, he does. Yeah, he was married for 3 years to Claudia, my little daughter-in-law, and they had a son, Braden Thomas, named after Tommy. He was a year and a half when Tommy was killed, and he'll be 7 here next month.
Mm.
It's our little piece of joy, our little piece of Tommy that's here, and he does things that are, I go, oh my gosh, that's Tommy.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's a blessing to have him, for
And
sure.
I hear that a lot. I hear, and by the way, I want to say hi. I saw that Deb's on there, and I got Margie. I was just going to say it again: Sherry, Margie, Mary, and then I saw Debbie on there. Thanks, you guys, for being here. I see your smiling little icons there. A lot of the moms are talking about like at least they have a grandchild, a grandson, a granddaughter, and I
Right.
wish that they had. And then there's others, like you and I, that have grandsons that now they don't have a daddy. So
Yeah.
it comes with its own set of challenges that are there. And explaining, has it been difficult for you to and for Claudia to be able to explain to him how is he doing with that?
No, he's actually doing okay. I mean, he doesn't really remember his daddy. He can recognize a picture of him, but he doesn't have memories. He just knows his daddy was a hero. His daddy
Hmm.
was in the army, and his daddy, loved him and loved his mommy. And Claudia's done a good job as far as, just keeping his memory alive. And
Yeah.
and we all talk about Tommy, and oh, your daddy was like that, or oh, that reminds me of your daddy. We don't try to hide that, and he's I think as he gets older he'll be more interested in that and some of those things about his dad. I think now it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's my dad. you know
Sounds like he's got a healthy attitude, healthy little boy.
Yes, and I'm sure in time, there will be some issues that will probably come up, but we'll just deal with that when it comes.
Yeah.
That's having a daddy there, so.
That one day at a time, we were sharing about the manna, the daily manna that we get. Not like so many things we could think about, like, well, what are we going to do when this comes up or that comes up? And it's like, God just gives you enough just for that one particular day to be able to get through it. And
Absolutely.
there's enough, there's enough in one day to consume you. And I think I had a really good workout this morning, and I walked out and I was like thinking, and by the way, that did not help getting in the dress, just for all of you. It's like, as much as you work out, it did not help. But coming out, I was like, gosh, I feel really good. And then all of a sudden, it just, bam, it just hit me. And I was like, gosh, like, Randy, no, that doesn't mean, I'm talking to him, doesn't mean that I'm over you. Like, I still think about you all the time. And they're happy. They're happy in heaven, but it's just us. And I just have to remind myself, like, wow, I'm starting after, a little over 2 years, I'm starting to be able to get my joy. And I'm sure that now you at the 5-year mark are at that place where you still think about it every single day, right?
Every day. And there's days when it just hits harder than others.
Yeah.
But you do find joy again. And it's hard to believe that when that first year, those first few months, you just can't imagine that you'll ever be happy again, or that you can ever smile or sincerely be having a good time or be joyful. But you do. And it's kind of a weird thing, it's almost like you don't want to be happy, but you need to be happy. And our loved ones would want us to be happy. I know Tom would be like, Mom, come on, get over it. I get it. That's how he would be. What are you doing? Yeah. You need to be there for Tim and Jess and for Braden and, the other grandkids. And I always tell myself, I'm, again, bringing back Easter. Easter is such a wonderful time because we just remember the hope that we have. That without Jesus, there is no hope.
Yes.
And with him, there's everything. It's everything. And we're all going to get there at different times. And so I choose to be thankful for the 26 years that I had and all the wonderful memories that I have of Tommy. And I know I'm going to see him again. I'm going to see my mom. And I have a little grandson that's in heaven. So I've got sweet deposits in heaven waiting for me. And I'm just so thankful that I have that hope. And I just hope that the women listening will hang on to that, because it really is the most important thing in our whole life. We're all going to get there one way or another. And in years, we'll all be there anyway. So,
yes.
Where I sit here, I'll be there.
Such a short amount of time. Do you ladies see what a great attitude that Didi has? And that doesn't mean we're going to look down upon you if you're having a bad day, but I just think that you've said so many wonderful things here tonight. And the one thing that I hope that all of you are going to take is that hope. And that we have said, hope can stand for hang on, pain ends. And I don't think that it really ever ends. I think it lightens us up a little bit, right? And
yeah.
it just gets a little bit easier. And Debbie had asked, does he come to you in your dreams? That's a good question.
No, I have in the 5.5 years that Tommy's been gone, I have never had him in one dream.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now I've heard some moms say that really bothers them, but
me, it doesn't. It doesn't for me. I don't know. Same with my mom. When my mom passed away, I have had like 2 dreams since she died. She's been gone 20 years, where I could hear her voice and that kind of thing. But for the most part, no. Now my son Timothy, people have shared dreams that they've talked to Tommy in their dreams and that kind of thing, and that it's helped them. So I don't know about that, but it personally for me, that's not happened.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of times it's just going to happen when God wants it to happen. I really do. And sometimes I've had dreams about Randy hugging me, and then I want to remember the room that it was in. I want to get in all the details, and I'm like, nope, just going to hold on to the fact that I felt that he was a really good hug.
Yeah.
Hug to me. That's all that I'm gonna take from that. Thank you for that question, Debbie. That was really a good one. I also wanted to just say that, you heard that Didi talked about, not to isolate. We say this every single time on this Hope After the Landslide, because we have a tendency to do that. And actually, before we started to get on Facebook Live, Didi and I were talking about, I think that some of us get into a place of like resentment and bitterness and just say, we get very defiant, like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just not going to get better. I'm never going to get through this. And I just want to remind you guys that in the very beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and he used words. He said, and let there be light, and there was light, just through words. And when we use our words, they're very powerful. And so if we say those things, sorry, I'm moving around here, ladies. If we don't speak positive things that's going to help us to get through this, well, then we just won't get through it, right? So we have to, sorry, you guys I hope you're not getting all dizzy. So you have to speak it and say, maybe today I don't feel like I'm going to get through it, but you know what, God, I'm trusting that you're going to help us get through that. And as you can see, Didi, 5 years, a little over 2 years. And I don't want you guys to think that, oh, we're just that kind of woman, that we can handle this. No, because we cry like hard. I know that Didi has cried hard, and I've cried hard, and I know that you do too. But we are going to get through this. Yeah. And I'm just going to keep always reiterating on this. I say every week that our big objective is, like I could be shopping and just say, whatever, those ladies figure out. I really want to encourage you when we're doing these to be able to get yourself involved with other moms. And Dee talked about counsel, and we can go into our support groups and the Grieving Moms Finding Hope, that we have started like a little over 2 years ago, maybe a year. I haven't been able to keep track because you lose sense of time whenever you're going through grief. But nonetheless, the book has been out just coming up on a year, I guess it's been, truthfully. And I've had more of the moms. I've seen the moms that have gotten involved in this, including yourself, that we can all have those moments of joy and laugh and hug and talk about things that you just can't talk about with other moms or just other people that are out there. They just don't get it. And so even if it's been 15 or 20 years, right, Didi, it's like, it's never too late. It's never too late.
Yeah, I've been in, I went to grief groups. I've been in both, where it's been all kinds of losses and then parents only. And definitely you want to see, for me, I would advise seeking out a parent only or a mom's only even, because there's just nothing like being in a room full of people that have gone through a loss. And whether it's 6 months or 3 months or 5 years or 15 years, we can learn from each other. I remember one of my first mom's retreats with an organization that came alongside of me. I went at 6 months. And I could see these women that were like 3 and 4 years down the road, and they were just in a different place. I could see it, and I thought, okay. And then when I went the next year, and there was new moms that came in, I thought, wow, that's where I was last year. And it was just really eye-opening, just to see the change in a year. You really do find ways to cope and carry that pain, and to be with other women and other moms. There's just nothing like it. Nothing.
Yeah. I know we had a lot of good laughs in that first go around, and I will just keep saying, it's like, you just have a way of making me laugh, and you're just so real and authentic, and I love that about you.
And how funny it was that here's all these women, we've all grieving moms, and we're cracking up over things. And we, boy, if anybody saw this, they'd be like, what is wrong with those women in there?
Yeah. I mean, it's like they were inside of my home, and if there was anybody outside, they'd be like, I thought she was gathering grieving moms in the house. And so I think maybe sometimes the moms think that it's just a lot of doom and gloom, having to hear some of these stories that are heavy and whatnot. But I think it just helps to know that we're not alone. And by sharing that story, I know Kathy Taylor, that's from the Hurting Moms Mending Hearts, that's a sister group. She always talks about, when we tell the story, it just takes away its power. And if you've held on to this story and you just don't feel like sharing it because it's too painful, it's going to come out at some point. So we're really encouraging you to share it. Find someone that you trust. And the women that are in the groups are so trustworthy. It is a safe place, and you guys all deserve to have that time together to where, you know, you can be eventually laughing and telling jokes. And I don't even remember some of the stuff that we used to do, but nonetheless, we had a good time. Let's see. Margie says, it is like you feel guilty if you're having fun. And for me, like I'm forgetting her. Yeah, that's common, right?
That's a normal feeling. And we know we're not forgetting them. We know we're not. We don't ever forget them, ever, ever, ever. And I think it's just something it's just a part of the process. We have to go through those days where we carry guilt a little bit, and we got to give ourselves. Just know that, of course, we're never going to forget that child.
Yeah.
And that child would want us to be able to find some joy in our life. It's just, even as an honor to our children, too. You know, just to, you know, I feel like, oh, sorry, my dogs.
Is that Bailey?
It's good to talk positively about our children and the fun times that we had, to keep those fun memories alive, because the sad day is there and it's always going to be there, and the loss, but there was so much good before that.
Yes.
And choose to, you know, just remember, dwell on those things.
Yeah.
When we talk about our kids.
And yes, because it does. And we want other people to ask about, you know, like what was our son like? What was Tommy like growing up? That makes us feel good. It's not uncomfortable. And we'll let you know, I'm pretty sure. Didi, you have to show us your cute little dog, because I think that's been a good part of your therapy. Oh. Is she right there?
Yeah.
You have to show him. This dog is so darn cute.
I got to pick her up. Sorry. Well, she's cute. And it's a good thing she's cute, because she's a stinker. Bailey. She's the one making all the noise in the background.
Oh, but that's okay. But she gets away with it. Like I said, it's like, and I don't know how many of you out there have like a pet, but they certainly do help you out. They have such a compassion, and they can just feel, you know, they can see. My dogs have even licked tears up off my face many a times.
Yeah, I love your dogs. Tommy loved this dog. He loved both of them. But there's a great picture up at Ranger Regiment in Washington of Tommy holding this little puff ball. And here's, you know, Tommy, my big, you know, kid, man, with this little puff ball. And he's got this funny grin on his face. And I walked into the hallway when we were up there for one of his memorials, and I thought, oh my God, I cannot believe that picture is on the wall.
Well, how can you resist? My goodness, look at her.
Anyway. Bye-bye.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Didi. We are, I told you it was going to go by fast. Like we could, yeah. Like she's like, can we extend? Can we extend it? Is there anything you want to talk to us about? It, you know, whatever. I'm sure we can just leave you on here, and whoever wants to stay tuned can do that. Didi, you are such a delight, and I just want to thank you for your courage and for your willingness to put up with trying to get on today, which it was just a little minor problem. It is really very easy at the end of the day, and I just adore you, and I want to wish you and your family a very, very happy Easter. And yes, and I truly do adore you. Well, and I want to say to all of you out there, and I know Didi would echo these words, and that is go on grievingmoms.com and join a group, you guys. Just join a group. Make it be, you know, this Easter promise that you have between you and the Lord, that you get involved with other moms so that you can have these like unbelievable friendships that you never probably thought you could have. Some people have said, well, I don't do well with women friendships, but I got to tell you, when women have gone through losing a child, they have let go all of that other stuff. You know, there isn't any of that, you know, this kind of stuff going on. I hate to say it, but that's sometimes how we can be. There's no room for gossip and just bad-mouthing each other. We're all just solid women. And anyways, there's a link above that you can click on and get on there. You can do an online group, or you can do something that's in your own home. It's very, very simple. And you'll go through the 12-week book, Resurfacing through Grieving Moms, Finding Hope. And then also I'm trying to encourage you guys to sign up for the devotionals, Hope at Sunrise, that you can get on. Those come in your mailbox every single day. There's kind of a weird sound that's coming in right now, but that must mean it's time for us to go. So Happy Easter to each and every one of you. God bless you guys all. And please take care of yourselves. Do that self-care. Have some laughs. You know, get together and just hold each other accountable. Find the women to hold each other accountable, like Didi had said, and make you get out there. Don't stay isolated, okay? We want you to be insulated with God and with your other friends. So anyway, again, Didi, thank you so much. Mwah.
Thank you, Jackie. Love you.
Love you too. Bye,
All
everybody.
right. Bye-bye.